10 p.m. in Accra. My name is Bright Nanamfo. Thanks so much for staying there for us on News at 10. For the next half hour, we'll tell you what's happening in Ghana and beyond. Of course, you can also join the show via our social media platforms, and you get to know what's happening in the country from now till 10:30. Now, let's quickly check some news highlights on this network. The National Executive Council of the People's National Convention, the PNC, has suspended its General Secretary, Atik Mohammed, indefinitely on grounds of poor execution of his mandate as well as gross misbehavior and misconduct. The party took the decision after a crunch national executive meeting held at the party's headquarters in Accra. We're told the meeting ran into trouble with some of the members of the council storming out of that meeting. The chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Madam Charlotte says Deputy Chairperson Georgina Opokwa-Mankwa of the Commission illegally signed contracts worth over 40 million cedis without her approval. This was contained in a response to several allegations leveled against her by employees of the Commission, citing financial malfeasance. Madam Osei, reacting to the petition submitted to the President, she said that her deputies had engaged in some kind of malfeasance. I'll tell you more about that. Now, experts say there is no cure but treatment for stammering. They indicate starting a stammering therapy early for young children can help them improve on their speech before it becomes a lifelong problem. Most people who stammer have faced a lot of humiliation, leading to loss of confidence in themselves. Experts are saying that therapy, starting from the beginning, can help a lot. And years of neglect is weakening the central administration block of the Buankra Inland Port, constructed 16 years ago. We're told the building has been left to rot following a stalled inland port project in the Ashanti region. And we're told that this was expected to help ease congestion at Ghana's port, the Buankra Inland Port there, having been neglected. But finally, on the international front, U.S. President Donald Trump has insisted he has a complete power to pardon people amid reports he is considering presidential pardons for family members, aides, and even himself. The Democratic Party spokesman has called the report extremely disturbing. The U.S. authorities are probing possible collusion between the Trump team and Russia. Intelligence agencies think Russia tried to help Mr. Trump to come to power. Russia denies this, and the president says there was no collusion in there. And of course, our viewers across the country and beyond, we're grateful for your time. Let's start with a big one. The People's National Convention has suspended the party's General Secretary, Atik Mohammed, for what the party describes as gross misbehavior and misconduct. Atik Mohammed was therefore suspended indefinitely by the neck of the party. And again, we're told that the communication director of the PNC, Emmanuel Wilson, confirmed that the decision was taken at an extraordinary National Executive Committee meeting held Saturday, July 22. Atik Mohammed was accused of bringing the image of the party into disrepute.
The meeting traveled over a 7-hour period and was characterized with intermittent misunderstandings between some executives of the National Executive Council.
You went to Ibrahim Mama. What were you not looking for? What were you not looking for? You put your CV to the president. You were begging on your knees. I told the president should give me time.
According to the communications director of the party, Emmanuel Wilson Jr., the National Executive Council of the party took the decision after an assessment of the party's abysmal performance at the last year's polls. He again explained the National Executive Committee analyzed the performance of 3 top officials of the party as part of the party's restructuring mechanism.
The Constitution says that National Executive Council is the second highest decision body. Any body that can, or any organ in the party that can overturn the decision of National Executive Council is Congress, not court.
The leader and 2016 presidential candidate of the party, Dr. Edward Mahama, described the decision as fair.
Quorum was formed, and I think it indicates the unity and vibrancy of the PNC.
According to the party, the Deputy General Secretary of the party takes over as the Acting General Secretary of the party.
We're trying to get to the General Secretary of the party, Atiq Mohammed, to react to that earlier on news at 7. The chairman of the party had indicated that what the party had done is illegal. He had earlier spoken to Portia Gabo and will try and reach Atiq Mohammed there. But let's move on. The chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Charlotte says Deputy Chairperson Georgina Opoku-Amankwa signed contract worth over 40 million cedis without her approval. This was contained in a response to several allegations that were leveled against her by employees of the Commission, citing financial malfeasance.
EC Chairperson Charlotte Osei has responded to the 27 allegations leveled against her, indicating there is no established case of fraud or abuse of office made against her. Principally, the EC Deputy Chair, Charlotte Osei, indicated Georgina Opoku-Amankwa illegally signed over 40 million cedis contract without the knowledge of the EC boss. The employees claim Madam Charlotte Osei, the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, on 30th June 2015 assumed office while still holding office as a board member of Ghana Reinsurance, a public company contrary to Article 44(4) of the 1992 Constitution. Charlotte Osei's response was that Ghana Reinsurance is a limited liability company with shares held by the government of Ghana. A non-executive director position is not a public office. The employees also claim the Commission signed a contract with Supertech Limited STL on the premise that the voters' registration exercise was going to be electoral area-based. Upon assumption of office as the chairperson of the Commission, Charlotte Osei unilaterally abrogated the said contract without recourse to the same Commission. She single-handedly renegotiated the contract with a vendor without involvement of the members of the Commission, not even the deputies, to the tune of $21,999,592 without going through tender, contrary to the Public Procurement Act. In her response, the EC chair indicated the 2 deputy chairpersons signed 2 contracts with STL on May 6, 2015 for $22.3 million BVR and $16.4 million BVD. She insisted letters were written to Public Procurement Authority on May 15, 2015, seeking permission for sole sourcing after the contracts had been signed.
A deputy local government minister, Obi Amwa, has hinted the Economic and Organized Crime Office is likely to approach the petition from some concerned staff of the Commission against their boss in the same way it is handling a separate case involving 2 other EC officials. Iyoko might ask the EC boss to proceed on leave while it investigates a 28-point petition demanding her impeachment. Obi Amwa also revealed that the cause of the problems at the EC is a deep mistrust amongst the commissioners.
Whether we like it or not, there appears to be a major division at the EC. And for some of us who have worked closely with the EC for some time, this is unprecedented, but at the same time, something that was expected. Expected in the sense that the chair came in as a new person, 2015. She took over from the great Dr. Frejan, and then there were speculations as to who was to be appointed the chair. Eventually it fell on Mrs. Charlotte Osei, and then she came in. But as I said, having worked closely with the EC, somehow it was becoming obvious that there were some divisions and tensions of the place, especially among the 7 commissioners. As we speak, if I can guess right, I would say that the chair has 2 persons on her side, whereas the other 4 are on their own, more or less. Now, to give some vent to this perception, the majority leader, 29th March, when he submitted the report of the Special Budget Committee on the estimates of the Electoral Commission, made one major observation, which was later on denied by the EC, but which has come to haunt all of us. The committee, as a general observation, noted that there are deep-seated mistrust among members of the commission, especially between the chairperson and the deputy commissioners. This undoubtedly negatively impacts on the operations of the commission. The committee therefore wishes to recommend to the chairperson and members of the commission to deal with one another in a much more open and transparent manner in order to eradicate the existing mistrust and also win the confidence of one another for harmonious working relations and in the supreme interest of the country. This is what the majority leader said on the floor of the House.
Obiamwa is a Deputy Local Government and Rural Development Minister there, talking about what's happening at the Electoral Commission of Ghana. Now let's go back to our earlier story on the People's National Convention, where a meeting had decided to suspend General Secretary Atiq Mohammed for what it describes as misconduct. Atiq Mohammed has just joined me on the phone lines. Grateful to have you tonight. We'll try and reach Atiq Mohammed, General Secretary of the People's National Convention. Atiq Mohammed, grateful for your time tonight. Right, we'll try and rework the phone lines, but the party has decided at a meeting earlier in the day to suspend the General Secretary of the party, what they describe as gross misconduct and his inability to execute his mandate. We'll rework the phone lines and get back to him and find out if he's already started writing his handing over now. Stay with us on News at 10. We'll be back in a moment. Let's get back to the suspended General Secretary of the PNC, Atiq Mohammed. Good evening, Mr. Atiq Mohammed. Hello, Mr. Atiq Mohammed. Good evening. Right, the PNC has suspended its General Secretary after a meeting today at the party's headquarters. We were told that there was not that peace at the meeting. The chairman of the party had earlier on News 360 told Portia Gabo the decision was wrong and he is ready to fight to restore peace and harmony in the party. We earlier had heard the leader of the party, Dr. Edward Mahama, suggesting that the decision was in the right order. There was a quorum and the party took the decision. We'll try and reach the General Secretary who is being suspended, Atiq Mohammed, and hopefully if he's joined us on the phone lines. Atiq Mohammed, once again, good evening and grateful for your time. We'll tell you more about that story later on. But some other news coming up. Years of neglect is weakening the central administration block of the Buankra Inland Port, constructed some 16 years ago. The building has been left to rot following the Stored Inland Port project in the Ashanti region, which was expected to help ease congestion at Ghana's ports.
Started in 2001, the Buankra Inland Port was expected to link the Tema and Takoradi ports to the inner parts of the country and other landlocked countries such as Burkina Faso, Niger and Mali. The inland port has the potential to boost economic activities, create employment, ease transport congestion and reduce the high cost of transporting goods and services up north by road. The project was initiated by the Ghana Shippers Authority in partnership with the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, but work on the Buankra Inland Port project has stalled for the past 16 years, with some of the existing infrastructure deteriorating at a faster rate. After years of neglect, the ceilings of the central administration are peeling and ripping off, and water seeps through the walls, Cracks have also developed on the wall, weakening the strength of the building. The Minister of Transport and his deputy, as well as management of the Ghana Shippers Authority, have paid a working visit to the facility to assess the level of deterioration. The Minister, Kweku Furi-Siama, expressed the government's readiness to make the Inland Port project operational.
We've received some forms of expression of interest. That's on my table, and the ministry and the Shippers Authority have some. We are going to sit down with the authority, look at it in its whole entirety, put up an advert, put up the tender, and we open up the process.
Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Shippers Authority, Benonita Bismarck, said the project will need to come on stream as early as possible to salvage the investment.
And it's been lying idle for 16 years. It's not generating any revenue. The money is locked up. So the earlier it is operationalized, the better for us as an authority, so that we can recoup some of the money, if not all, that we have invested.
Let's go back to the PNC story. The party has decided to suspend its General Secretary, Mr. Atiq Mohammed. He's joined me on the phone lines. Mr. Mohammed, grateful for your time tonight.
Thank you for having me.
So let's start from here. It means that you're getting ready to hand over activities of your office to another person?
Thank you very much, but I think, forgive me for laughing, and let me apologize to viewers, but it is very funny, and I consider this to be the worst political joke I've heard in a long while. The People's National Convention is run by rules and regulations, and indeed, I did not become a General Secretary through the benevolence of Dr. Mahama or anybody else for that matter. I was duly elected, I campaigned, went around the country, and I was voted for at Congress. And so, no, I mean, nobody can just go and sit at a meeting whose agenda was not even about me. It was about Dr. Mahama and his acceptance of an offer from a different administration without recourse to the party, only for him to get up and forcibly change the agenda and then said, that the party rests on the shoulders of three people, namely myself, himself, and then the national chairman, and that we fared badly in the last election. So that meeting, instead of discussing the issue which we had tabled, that the party should do an assessment of us and then punish us, or punish whoever they find to have failed in either executing his role or contributing to the failure of the party in the last election. But the point is that if there's anybody who should take responsibility, it is the flag bearer. Right. But the national chairman himself even said he takes full responsibility. And in any case, NEC doesn't have the power to do assessment of national executives. It is only Congress. So that when you reappear, they will examine you and say, look, we feel that you don't deserve our mandate any longer. And they vote against you. Dr. Mahama cannot arrogate himself and using the NEC in the manner he did, the power to decide which executive should stay on because he feels the person does not perform or has performed. I see.
So the NEC decision, so the NEC decision is wrong.
It's void. Look, it can't have the power of law. And that's why I said it's a political joke. And it's unfortunate it is Dr. Mama who was a comedian, saying such a political joke. And he was instrumental in the saying of such a joke. So that the implication is that, for instance, Johnson, Asiedu-Dartey and all other executives of the NDC, because they lost power, they can call a National Executive Committee meeting and say, because we lost power, all of you did not perform well, so next should suspend all of you indefinitely. And there is mixed communication. What happened, if you may, let me just quickly state what happened, because I was not there before this decision was taken. When we went there, the meeting was called at the instance of the national chairman to discuss recent happenings. And it was specific to the appointment of Dr. Mahama as ambassador at large and so on. But he altered the agenda. So when he altered it, I rose and said, look, we can't come here for the agenda to be altered. If you want to have this discussion, it could be on another next day, but not today. And so I said, if this is what he wants discussed, because this forum doesn't have that capacity, in law and in fact. So I will recuse myself from such a meeting because they are going to discuss an illegality, arrogating to themselves powers that are beyond what the law or the constitution has conferred on them. So I recused myself from the meeting. The national chairman also did the same. Only for me to get to the house and somebody calls to say, they say they have voted to suspend you indefinitely. But the question I'm asking is, does NEC have the power to do that?
So I think you left the meeting because you were not comfortable with the agenda of the meeting.
No, the agenda was clear. He altered the agenda and wanted to forcibly impose that on us to discuss an issue NEC was not competent to handle. What assessing executives is not within the remit of the National Executive Committee. It is Congress, and indeed it is the entirety of the delegates. When they vote for you at the next Congress, they will assess you and pass a judgment on you. And that is why I'm saying that Dr. Mahama cleverly attempted to evade, and he succeeded in doing so, the issue which was on the table, which was about his leadership, his continued holding on to the title of the leader of the party, while serving as ambassador at large. He changed the agenda, and now it was about assessing me, and that they should pass a verdict on me because he feels I have not performed well as the general secretary.
I see.
And, given the last election. But let me just end on this note. The communication that nobody has called me officially to say anything. So as far as I know, there is no such decision. But what I have read is that I have been sanctioned because of misconduct towards the appointment of Dr. Mahama as ambassador at large.
Right.
It was never discussed. This issue I'm talking about, whether I misbehaved or not, was never on the table. It was about Dr. Mahama saying that assess him and judge him for me. And that is exactly what they did. Or I don't even know how they did it, but that is what was supposed to have happened. And this is a joke, to say the least. It can't stand. And, of course, Dr. Mahama is inviting an interesting fight. We'll give it to him. He has succeeded in running down the PNC over the period. I think this is the time to end that attempt to bury the PNC.
I see. And so, I think, in this situation, you're saying that NEC doesn't have that power. Dr. Edward Mahama says that the meeting had quorum, and what do you do next now that you stand suspended by the party?
Well, I'm having a good weekend. I don't want to spoil it. But from Monday onwards, I'm sure Ghanaians will get to know the true state of affairs and the true happenings today and what ought to be done. I will not hasten to say this is what I'm going to do, but I'm telling everybody who cares to listen that if Dr. Mahama thinks this is a decision that can stand, he's had it all wrong, because this is an error in law and in fact. And we cannot, we've suffered this. Look, Ndebugre and so many other people have lost their membership of the PNC because Dr. Mahama said they should be fired, and he fired them. I do not think that trend should continue, because that is what has seen the collapse of the PNC. You've been the flag bearer for 5 times, and you have run down from 8% to 0%. And you are saying that I, the General Secretary, I should be held responsible for it, and that NEC should hold me responsible and then suspend me because you feel we performed bad. We'll know who ought to answer which questions from Monday onwards. All
right. I think I'm grateful for your time. Have a great weekend, as you said. Atik Mohammed is a suspended General Secretary of PNC. He says he will live to fight that suspension. But earlier, Bernard Mona, the chairman of the party, has been speaking about events culminating in the suspension that is being challenged. Let's listen to him. Well, we'll bring you that. Sorry, we cannot bring you Bernard Mona's conversation with Portia Gabo earlier on News 360. Now, that's how we're wrapping up the show for today. We're grateful that you stayed there to be part of the show. Stay with us right here on TV3, and we have more news from tomorrow, Sunday. Have a great evening. My name is Bright. Good night.